Welcome to a new edition of the seminar series, Critical Histories of Criminology, Stories of the Seven Continents. This seminar series seeks to challenge criminology's hegemonic story, unearth its history, and tell alternative stories. Criminology's official history has mainly been about the Anglophone North, where Western Europe and North America loom large at the center. This seminar series contests the idea of a global criminology and its tale from the metropolis that has been equated with the universal history of criminology. Instead, this series attempts to look at criminology's history from fresh perspectives. For that, we give space to continents that currently tend to remain at the periphery. We want to represent each continent in its real proportions regarding their role in criminology and contributions to the discipline. We seek to tell alternative stories of the discipline, spotlight histories often ignored, and excavate a more representative history of criminology. For that, we have allied with experts across the globe, each representing a continent, who will join us in telling alternative stories. This time, it is the turn of Asia, a vast and diverse region that stretches from the Middle East to Indonesia. It is a continent with huge differences in culture, custom, economics, language, politics, and religion. In Asia, many different languages and disciplines are involved in research on social conflicts and crime. Linguistic diversity, combined with the varied economic, legal, political, and social contexts, gives birth to myriad debates about crime, harm, and justice. There is much for us to learn from this immense diversity in Asian criminological paradigms. As John Braithwaite stated, Asia's most important contribution to global criminology is in opening its eyes to completely new ways of seeing, as opposed to adjusting, testing, or revising Western theories in light of Eastern experience. Today, we have the leading figure in Asian criminology who will guide us in this process of opening our eyes. Professor Jianhong Liu is a distinguished professor at the University of Macau in China. He has degrees in philosophy of science from the Nankai University in China, sociology from the University at Albany in the United States of America, and criminology from the same university. Professor Liu's primary research fields include comparative criminology, comparative criminal justice, and crime and justice in Asia and China. He has published more than 31 books and 100 journal articles on these topics, becoming the leading figure in the development of Asian criminology. Professor Liu has been the recipient of several prestigious awards, including the Freda Adler Distinguished International Scholar Award by the American Society of Criminology and the G.O.W. Mueller Award for Distinguished Contribution to International Criminal Justice by the Academy of Criminal Justice Science. Professor Liu was also the founding and honorary president of the Asian Criminological Society, and he is the editor-in-chief of the Asian Journal of Criminology. He has made significant contributions toward challenging the hegemony of Western thought, among others by disseminating research undertaken by Asian scholars and by bridging global gaps in knowledge. Professor Liu, thanks for joining us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. It's my great pleasure and my great honor to be invited to participate in this series and have a discussion and share some thoughts with all of our colleagues here in the university on the critical history of criminology in Asia. I have a brief, okay, it's the offline. Basically, I'm gonna have a brief introduction and then talk about historical overview of Asian contexts, and then development of criminology discipline in Asia, and then development of criminological theories in Asia, and some short words about future directions and conclusions. So first, let's start to introduce the general idea shared by all of us is the Western-centric criminological framework has many problems, very serious problems. And it uses the tools that well established in the West, but try to spread that into other part of the world, okay? The Western criminology we have recognized there's many inadequacies. I'm a scholar who conduct a lot of empirical studies, and we have found with many statistics show that Western criminological theory does not always universally apply across diverse culture and social contexts. Research in criminology requires broad perspectives that should consider diverse historical, geopolitical, economic, and cultural contexts, as well as their implications for knowledge production. Asia has a unique role of doing that because Asia has a very long-standing civilization and diverse cultural, social, institutional structure. It offers unique aspects and opportunities for advancing criminology. As Walkley has noted, Asian criminology occupies a unique space at the intersection of East-West and North-South, capable of offering fresh perspectives in criminology, both conceptually and methodologically. Okay. So what is the importance of Asia for criminology? First of all, Asia has vast differences from West. These differences suggest important knowledge has been ignored or overlooked in seeking understanding crime and justice by Western scholars and Western colleagues. Secondly, Asia is a vast region that has broad diversity, as our as our Professor David just mentioned, right? It's a big challenge for the methodology in generating knowledge. And also, despite the diversity, Asia do share some commonalities, and that actually suggests new knowledge, new summary, or new possible patterns can be discovered. And lastly, some special features in Asian context, like in many other parts of the world, actually suggests insights that's less visible or not visible in Western contexts, that pointing to essential discoveries that cannot be made or cannot be clearly made just in Western contexts. So those are the significant aspect of study criminology, study crime and justice in Asia. It has the potential to make great contribution to knowledge of criminology. So I start with some brief historical overview of Asian contexts. Very highly developed region is the East Asia. In East Asia region, including Japan, South Korea, and Vietnam, and so on, China, right? Cultural legacy of Confucianism has a very widespread influence. And Confucianism in those hierarchical social structure articulated through the relationship of ruler, subject, father, son, husband, wife, emphasizes primacy of family and clan-based social bonds. This is very strong cultural feature in Confucianism. Of course, Confucianism is a big family of work, and we can simply try to highlight some of the aspects that is essential, very distinctively di different from emphasis of the Western culture. This is what I try to do here, okay? And Confucian culture emphasize moderation and harmony, emphasize prudent punishment, emphasize education, emphasize informal conflict resolution, emphasize community-based system, emphasize the shared shape that has shaped East Asia legal system and criminology, reflecting adaptation to local contexts with maintaining a shared cultural values. So Confucianism in East Asia is a major cultural heritage that still plays important influence today. The other very distinctive historical influence is Islam and Middle East. Islam emergence as expansion originating the 7th century Arabian Peninsula. Islam rapidly spread across West Asia, Mid East, and Southeast Asia, deeply influencing cultural, political, and legal domains. Islam teaching has some emphasis, for example, on solidarity, group solidarity, on collective Muslim identity, and strengthen, emphasize family, clan, and social cohesion. This part, as you can see, is some similarity with Confucianism, right? And also the Sharia law, also actually you can see it's with a collectivistic philosophy, prioritizing public welfare. And its legal integration emphasize moral teachings, maintaining social stability, and curtailing personal freedoms. Those are some cultural features that we can see in Islamic culture contexts. Okay. And also the other significant aspect of Asian context is in Indus Valley civilization, South Asian crime governance. And in South Asia, India, for example, and other South Asian countries, that has very different culture context, again, from Western, right? Its diverse civilization contributed to culturally rich and diverse region. Role of the Hinduism and the Hinduism, the moral foundations, and also the social structure and caste system. Each of these things indicating some distinctive features of this region. But again, you can recognize, emphasize morality, social order, collective welfare. Those ideas also share quite a lot similarities with Confucianism and Islamic teachings. Okay. And also in this region, Buddhism has long-lasting impact. Of course, beyond the other influences such as Hinduism and also Islamic culture in that region. Buddhism's ethical approach is very similar to the Confucian emphasis on harmonious relations and on informal conflict resolution based on mediation and education, all these ideas. Its penal philosophy and restorative justice practice is very emphasized very much, and reintegration is emphasized very much, and the Indian people perform many practices that could be classified as restorative justice. So basically, all these things have some similarities in Asia. For example, they emphasize collectivist nature of many Asian societies, and emphasize relationship among people. That compare in contrast with the individualistic culture we found typically in the West. It emphasizes resume relationship when there's a conflict or where things like violation, relationships and crime. They try to resume the relationship. For example, as suggested by ideas proposed by John Braithwaite. They also emphasize family, clan-based bonds, emphasize harmony, and their crime prevention strategies stress reconciliation rather than very strong punitive measures. Punishment is, of course, very important. However, is really it's really put not a priority, but a supportive or assistant measures for reconciliation and education. So this is a culture emphasis in this region too. Okay, so you can see despite great diversity, I only mentioned South Asia and East Asia and Islamic. Of course, there's many other areas in Asia we can find differences, diversity between Asian countries, Asian cultures. But there's one thing that quite clear to me, that is collectively they share more commonality compared in contrast with the features of Western individualistic culture. So that is among the diversity, there are similarities and shared common cultural values that made Asia quite distinctively important. Okay. And historical overview of Asian contexts. Okay, the construction of criminology in Asian contexts. Criminology in Asia has responded to the features of region's culture, social and legal contexts. Criminology has been developed very fast. Okay, and the legal system in Asian countries has been deeply influenced by Confucianism, Hinduism, Islamic, and other indigenous traditions, which has shaped crime control mechanisms, punishment philosophies, and societal attitudes towards crime. Okay. In contrast to the Western criminological theory, which emphasizes individual rights and state-based punishment, the Asian criminology often prioritizes community-based solutions, moral education, collective welfare, and its approach to crime and justice. This is some similarities and differences as we can compare. Despite the diversity within Asia, we can still see they are collectively has a strong shared commonalities that has a strong contrast with Western context and Western crime and crime prevention and justice system features. Okay. So the next topic I want to talk briefly is about the development of criminology discipline in Asia. Criminology in Asia has developed very fastly over the past, let's say, 20 years. A general consensus is that criminology emerged in the Western countries. In the 18th century, that is what the textbook generally taught us, right? As a well-established academic discipline with own journals and textbooks, professorship, in all of these, start to develop in Asia. Since 2009, we proposed this concept called Asian paradigm. We try to outline strategies and directions for developing criminology in Asia. We published quite a bit around this idea of Asian paradigm. Under the influence of Asian paradigm, discipline of Asian criminology has made great progress. including many advancements in educational programs, academic societies, publication, and influential works. Education programs are just, I cannot, of course, exhaust a long list of those programs, but briefly speaking, Hong Kong, Taiwan, India, Iran, all these programs were developed and greatly progressed in many other countries in Asia. There was criminology, but the rate and the scope and the coverage is much less developed before this time, as of 2009. Why we mention 2009? Because the statistics have shown very clearly a jump after 2009. What is that year? That actually is the year when Asian Criminology Society established, and we start to have yearly conferences that spread criminology, particularly Asian criminology in Asia, with this new platform and with much increased intensive communications and the opportunity for Asian criminologists to be conveniently traveled together to Asian country to share their ideas exchange. That is one of the reasons the Asian criminology developed fastly, increased the speed of developing after 2009. Those are supported by statistics. Okay. Educational program, as I mentioned, many educational programs is established, and criminology education across different subregions of Asian demonstrates a growing interest and investment in this field of study throughout the continent. One example I would like to give is Philippines. We had 2 annual conferences in Philippines, in Manila this time. And, the government has a system supporting the growth of criminology. They have established a government branch that's really, in charge of all professional development. They made criminology as a profession. Any person, any student, or any person performing duties or taking jobs relates to crime and crime prevention, including police, judge, and including prosecutor, or social worker. Anything that has anything to do with crime will have to pass exams to get a license as a criminologist. That is really, showing us how fastly the criminology is developing in this region. So, for example, College of Criminal Justice at North Arab University for Security Sciences is located in Saudi Arabia, which is regarded as one of the leading institutions in Arab world in criminology. So as you can see that criminology has become a mature discipline. Okay. So we continue to talk about this development of criminology discipline in Asia. Academic societies is one of the things that developed very fastly. Asian Criminology Society played a very important role, as I mentioned. Again, in 2009, Asian Criminology Society was founded in Macau. Since then, Asian criminology has expanded quickly. Professor Belknap concluded that the role of ACS is very important for developing Asian criminology. The ACS hosts annual conferences every year. We just finished our 15th conference in Manila, as I just mentioned to you. Okay. This is very important for developing a discipline. And also the other academic societies, such as South Asian Society of Criminology, Asian Association for Substance Abuse, and Sri Lanka Society of Criminology, and other like sociological criminology society in Japan. Many countries has already developed criminology society. Criminology really is flourishing in Asia. And we also academically, it has developed very fastly. One of the journal we publish is the journal of official journal of Asian Criminological Society, is the Asian Journal of Criminology. The journal has been established in 2006, but now it's already ranked at above top 10% of Scopus law journals. It's also ranked as Q1 at Cite Score ranking, and also ranked as Q2, close to Q1 in Social Science Citation Index. And society has also organized Handbook of Asian Criminology, published in 2013 by Springer, and we are currently working on a new edition of the handbook. And also we have published Springer series of Asian criminology and criminal justice research released by Springer that has already published 10 books. There's another book series is Pilgrim Advances in Criminology and Criminal Justice in Asia. So also published by Pilgrims, also has already published 21 books. These are the book publications that are influential in crime and justice, in criminology in Asia. And besides the institutional build up, as I mentioned, how criminology develops in Asia, I would also briefly summarize the development of criminological theory in Asia. Western criminology is always been like dominant in Asia for many, many years. However, Asian criminologists try to discover, try to conduct research that develop Asian criminology. The emphasis is that the Western theory does not always perform well when applied in Asian contexts. We have statistics for to support that conclusion. So we propose the Asian paradigm that provides 3 strategies for development, core concepts and theories in criminology in Asia. So the first strategy is transportation, that pretty much transport the Western theory in early stage into Asia. The purpose of that is to demonstrate the universality that claimed by Western scholars for their theory. Western scholars, the popular theory, they either explicitly or implicitly claim their theory is universal, is universally applicable. Asian criminologists challenges that conclusion by conducting tests with Asia data from Asian contexts. It has been demonstrated repeatedly the Western theory is very often inadequate. Some theories are better than other theories in performing applicability, but many of those theories does not always fit into the data. When that happens, the second strategy we use is to elaborate the theory. Particularly, this work has been done very often by Western criminologists who are interested in theory and who are interested to test and elaborate Western theory in different contexts. For example, Steve Messner has tried to conduct research to elaborate this Western theory. And it's very often, as you can see, many papers published with Asian data, with China data. For example, try to show how they elaborate with slightly adjusted concepts or some new concepts to develop the Western theory to try to make it more applicable to Asian contexts. That is the second strategy. But the most important strategy from Asian criminology is to propose new concepts and new theories that fits into Asian contexts and explain with higher power. And also that suggests new concepts and new insights, expanding knowledge of criminology. So this is again, transportation is the first strategy. In earlier stage of Asian criminology, there was no Asian theory. It was only spotted, scattered ideas, but not systematic theory. So transportation has been for a long time a major way of developing and working with theories. Okay. I have some examples here. For example, general string theory, right, has been examined and commended by many studies in Asia. Some are confirmed, some are rejected. However, the findings of other studies suggest that string theory can only be partially supported. Okay, so I have some citations here. You can see how general string theory does not fit very well. Okay, this is just one example. For many other theory, the situation is similar. So on the elaboration stage, as I mentioned, some of the Western theorists or people who study in Asia, let's say graduate students, for example, and scholars of criminology theory, try to elaborate the theory to make it more applicable. And that's the second stage of the theory, second strategy. Several criminologists have elaborated theories such as routine activity theory, self-control theory, situational action theory, and institutional anomy theory. All these are very popular and very famous Western theories. And scholars try to rework or better align with the special social and cultural context in Asia to enhance the explanatory power of these theories. But this is just sort of like revisionist, right? That does not really solve the problem, right? So the major way of doing that, most significant way of doing that, we believe, is to propose new concepts and new theories from Asia. On that regards, John Braithwaite promotes that. It says conceptual innovations in restorative justice, drawing from his observation in Asian context, he emphasized and proposed that it's time for new era of criminological theory that was given birth in Asia by Asian scholars. He's emphasized that. And along that idea, many scholars in Asia start to work on new theory. It is not easy work, but I think we have achieved a very significant results. The theory, relationalism theory of criminal justice has been revised over the years, over many different versions, but recently we presented the theory in Cambridge University Criminology Institute, and we have published a theory formally in the Asian Journal of Criminology, with pointing to the journal if you are interested in to see what kind of theory that looks like and what are the main ideas of theory is. Okay, so basically, Asian criminology has developed very fastly, taking into consideration of diverse cultural, political, economic context differences, try to find commonalities and try to formulate new theories and try to establish institutions and various scholarly platforms and publications, and has made very much progress, has achieved collectively many new heights, I should say. So this is pretty much what we believe and we have achieved. And in the future, we have a very high promise. We have a very high confidence to continue to develop Asian criminology. So this is pretty much my talk. I hope that has any use for any useful for any of you. I think I get sort of like used over time, a little bit more time than I should. I'll stop here. Welcome any questions and discussions.